Hello ladies and gentlemen, I am your favorite gamer, I am Yodai2, and this is, well, you just saw it listed right there, where's Unspeakable. This is Unspeakable's server. Anyway, this is my house that I got on the Sky Island, the skyblock. I made it a little bit bigger. Without further ado, this is Brother William Branham coming up right now.
Great big old long preacher's coat on, a big velvet collar to it. Poor old fellow come out walking like this. He got there, first time I'd ever seen a microphone, and he was preaching this, started there speaking, and he took his text over there, Job, I believe 7 or 8, somewhere there.
I think we already listened to this, I'm sorry.
Morning stars sing together, and the sons of God shouted for joy. And the old fella, I felt so sorry for him, I wanted to go up and hold his arm, keep him from falling while he was preaching. And he was so old, and I thought, why did he put some of them young fellows up here? And they'd been preaching all day, about what Jesus done. But he went back down there from about, and brought him down across the skies like this, and down the horizontal rainbow in the second coming. And about time he got down there, that old man hollered, whoop! He jumped up and kicked his heels together, went tipping off the platform, and said, you ain't got enough room up here for me to preach. I looked at that and I thought, brother, if that Holy Ghost will make an old man act like that, what would it do for me? That's what I want. That's what I want. And I walked off the platform, saying, I said, yeah, you got room for me to preach. I thought, whoo, he's been to a fountain of youth somewhere. I thought, I want that. And that night out in the cornfield, I wanted to press my trousers, and I laid them between the two seats, like that, seersuckers, and I put them down there, and I prayed. I said, God, that's the most wonderful people. Give me favor before them. Let me find some kind of grace side. That they got what I'm wanting. So I remember the next morning I washed up and come in. It was about 10 o'clock. I could eat with them, but I couldn't put in nothing in their offering, so I just wanted to eat with them. I had my buns or rolls, and I come on in, and got me a good drink at a hydrant, drove my old Ford up and stopped one in, and they were singing that little song, and singing, clapping their hands, singing, I know it was the blood, I know it was the blood. And every one of them just a screaming and a running. I thought, well, what do you know about this? And I sat down by colored brethren. And I sat down there. They had the conference up in the north, so they couldn't have it in south on account of the mixing of the colored and the white. And so I sat down by colored brother there. I had on a little t-shirt, nobody knowed me. So on a pair of seersucker trousers. I was sitting there listening to a man, I believe, from Cincinnati by the name of Kirk. And he came out. Now, he belongs to one of those Pentecostal organizations, don't know which one it was. But the best I remember, the man's tabernacle, his name's Rau, R-A-U-G-H, a German, Rau or Raw or something like that. And it was, I sat down there, and I thought, I'm going to enjoy this well today. So this minister walked out, he said, last night on the platform, there was a young preacher here, I believe the youngest we had in the audience, his name is Branham. Billy Branham said, he's in the audience while we wanted to bring the message this morning. I hunkered down real low, seersucker trousers and t-shirt, so I got down real low, and he announced again, said, anybody outside know where Billy Branham is? From Indiana, down in Jeffersonville. Said, tell him to come to the platform. Well, I wasn't going up there for all them preachers like that, and I couldn't preach. My old sassafras, slow Baptist ways couldn't think of it that fast. So, boy, them fellows was preaching. I just sat real still like this. And so, got down low in my seat. This colored brother looked over and said, say, you know who that guy is? Oh, I was on the spot. I said, I had to say something then. I said, look, fella, look, I'm he, you see. But I said, don't tell them people. I said, look, I got on these seersucker trousers here, this t-shirt. He said, them people don't care what you dress like. Get on up there. And I said, well, I keep looking, you keep still. And he said, anybody know what the word of Reverend Branham? And I colored brother said, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. Seersucker trousers, t-shirt. Said, come on up, Mr. Branham. Oh, my.
Got wet.
I looked back at that brother, he's just laughing, I started, and I thought, Lord, I prayed, now what am I going to say when I get up there? I started sneaking up the platform, my ears real red, and I thought, what am I going to do? And I was afraid of that microphone hanging down there, it had it hanging on a wire hanging down. And I got the Bible, and I was trembling so I couldn't hardly take a hold of it. I remember I got my text from the rich man lifted up his eyes in hell, and then he cried. And then he cried. And then I cried. Some got a hold of me. I didn't know nothing for about a half hour. They had me outside, and all the screaming I ever heard in my life. Here come a fellow up from Texas, had on a cowboy boots and a great big hat, you know. Said, say, I'm preacher, so... Oh, I was all... Them seersucker trousers are not so bad after all, man. I looked at him, and he said, I heard you're an evangelist. I want you to come hold me a revival in Texas. And another fellow walked up, had on these little old golf pants, you know, that you... Knickerbocker pants.
Let's go see what everybody's doing.
I'm from Florida. I have a big bunch of a church down there with so many people. Would you come? Well, my T-shirt's not so bad. These are just home folks. So and a lady come up. She's teaching the Indians somewhere. And the first thing you know, I began to put down invitations like that, and I had a whole line of them on the back of a piece of paper. And I jumped in my old Ford, and down the road I went, my life. And I run home. When I got in, she's always lovely, Brother Ryan, you know that. She'd come always, she had long black hair, and she'd come run out the door to meet me, and she said, you look so happy. I said, honey, I found the greatest church in the world. I said, a bunch of people that's not ashamed of their religion, they scream and shout and everything else. She said, where you been? And I said, let's see, up around Mishawaka up there. I said, oh, you talk about a church. I said, you never seen such? And believe it or not, let me show you something. I pulled out, I said, I got an invitation to come to churches enough to keep me the whole year going. She said, you, honey? And I said,
dang it, I missed.
Me. And she said, well, I said, will you go with me? She said, I promise to go with you anywhere until death should separate. That's the real life. God rest her gallant soul today. Then, so I go with you anywhere.
Oh, I backed up too far.
I said, all right. I said, now we go tell our parents. I went and told, she used to tell her mother. I told Mama. Mama said, well, I said, okay, Billy. But I remember them kind of people down in Kentucky. When I was a little girl, said they used to have the old Lone Star meeting house up there. Said people would get down at the altar and they would pray and scream and run. That's old missionary Baptist. And said they got away from that today in these churches out here in Indiana and around. And that's a shame that we do it too. That's right. I tell you, this here kind of Baptist we have now, it's just shake hands and put your name on a paper. That's not the way I got it, brother. We got out the altar and beat one another in the back till we come through. We got something when we come out of there. That's the one that's shaking hands with the preacher. We got saved. And then I remember then when we started off, her mother said, well, Hope, she said, you can go. Of course, that said, but I'm telling you, said, if you do, your mother will fill a grave with a broken heart. Oh, my. There it was. And here's where I made my mistake, friends. I listened to my mother-in-law instead of listening to God. And if I would have went ahead then, this great thing would have been manifested before this, and the church had been farther along. But listen to my mistakes. Here's where sorrow started. Hope said, I'll go anyhow. I didn't want to hurt her mother's feelings. And her mother said, why don't you go up there at the church until you get it paid for and then get a parsonage and act like somebody's got some sense. And instead of having said, you think I could let my daughter be drugged around across the country and today she eats and tomorrow she doesn't eat and never have a change of clothes on her back and drug around with that bunch of trash? And I found out, and I don't say this but nothing but to tell the truth. What she called the trash, I find to be the cream of the crop. Exactly the truth. That's right. Said my daughter be drugged around such as that? Brother, by my mistakes, we had to bury her a little after that. Now, I never forget, trouble started when my father took sick, died on my arm just a little bit after that. My brother was riding on the side of a car, 15 years old. The man, he was hitchhiking and picked him up, was drinking, hit his head up the side of a pole, broke his neck, turned his liver over, and he died in my other brother's arms. And I was standing on the platform preaching when it happened. They come and told me, there, I tell you, the way of a transgressor's hard. Don't you pay any attention to what anybody in the world tells you. You do what God says do. No matter what it is. I don't care if it's one person come to me not long ago and said, Brother Branham, I have thus saith the Lord. I know the Lord wants you to quit doing this and quit doing that. I said, now my brother, I love you with all my heart, but don't come to me with that. I said, because that's not scriptural. She said, but I'm a prophet also. I said, God, I'm on speaking terms with him. If he wants me to know anything,
Okay,
he'll
I'm
tell
going to
me.
go back to my house. There ain't nothing going on
I
here.
said, well, one time there was two prophets. One of them went out and he was a young prophet and he prophesied against the altar. I believe it was 1 Kings 13. And he prophesied against the altar and healed the king's arm after he had been paralyzed. And another prophet said, the Lord said for you to come by my way after the Lord told him to do something else. And two prophets.
Let's,
you remember that?
extend my
no matter who's
property.
the prophet or who it is, when God tells you to do anything, you do what God says do. Let everything else go, see? You just mind God. And there was sympathy and feeling. I said, well,
No
I say, honey, we'll just let the thing go and then we'll go ahead and... She said, Bill, I'll go with you. I'll do anything that you want to do. And I said, well, we'll just let it go and we'll finish paying for our church and maybe after a while we'll be able to go. And sorrow set in. One thing after another. Trouble set in. Everything. And I remember then immediately that 1937 flood came up. I remember poor old Brother Ryan was in the city at that time, how the flood coming up, the workers on the wall. I had an old boat there, and he used to go out there and get in that boat and stand in that boat and float down the river and preach to them people on the flood wall, and then over back up the river, and then come back down the river preaching to the people on the flood wall. I remember the last time I seen you, Brother Ryan, there. I thought you were gone in eternity here a few months ago. I never know what become of him. Little old Brother George, the night come. I remember it was just the day before Christmas. Wife went over the river to get the kiddies' Christmas presents during that time. But then another year, and a little over a year, about a year and 11 months it was, between this 11 months between the two children, a little girl was born. I called her Sharon Rose. After the Bible, the Rose of Sharon. Sweetest little thing. She just got big enough that she could just goo, and she was so sweet. And I just love little kitties. And then I remember the flood came along, and she went over the river to get some things for the kiddies for Christmas, and I was working, and I come home, and there she'd fainted on the street, and they brought her in. And I rushed in, looked at her. A friend of mine, Dr. Sam Adair at Jeffersonville, I think he's one of the best doctors in the world. We were schooled together, buddied together, fished together, you know, as we did, run around together, live neighbors right now. And I called him, I just taken him down with a lamp for a Christmas present. It was night, the day before Christmas. And I called him, I said, Sam, Hope's fainted. And I said, he said, I'll be right up, Bill. He come up and said, oh my, she's got a fever 105, she's got pneumonia. And said, you'll have to stay up all night, Bill, and give her fluids to drink. Well, I did, and that night I knelt down and began to pray and pray for God to help her. And when I did, I was in prayer. I see a black sheet come down before me. I've seen the 1937 flood rise and 22 feet come over Spring Street, begin to prophesy. People said, you're crazy. You're off at your head. Down to Falls City Transfer Company, when I gave that down there to them, they said, oh, Billy, go on home. But less than 6 weeks from then, 22 feet of water measured over Spring Street, just exactly the way it said. And there, I seen a sheet fall, and I went to my church. I said, I believe that my disobedience has brought sorrow to my heart. My wife was going to go. And they said, oh, that's just your feeling for your wife. She got worse. The flood came in, broke through that night, that terrible night, Brother Ryan. You remember when the people were walking the streets and crying and everything? And I had a little old patrol wagon there that I was working with, trying to get people out of the flood. And I went out, and there was my wife had been moved out to the temporary hospital at the government depot. Everything else was all under flood. And I went out there to see her, and I was looking around, and I run into Brother George DeArt, in glory today. And he said, I just seen you down there with the United Brethren Church. I said, I just seen Brother Ryan. He said, down by the United Brethren Church. And Brother George put his arms around me. He said, Brother Billy, if I never see you no more, I'll see you in the morning. And that's our next meeting time. He left during the time of the flood. In glory today. When he was dying, he looked at the window. He said, oh, if I could only see Brother Bill one more time. Oh, if he could only be here. He said, oh, where are you at? He looked at the window and said, oh, Jesus, I knew you would come. Threw his arms out and went to meet God. Then I went on down. The flood was about ready to break through the dike up above there on Chestnut Street. And some of them called me up and said, hurry down there right quick. I was raised on the river and thought I was a pretty good boatman. I got my boat down there real quick. They said a woman's trapped out there, and I looked out there and I heard a woman screaming, stand out on top of a porch with a baby in her arms, screaming, have mercy, have mercy. The house shaking like that, and the flood's coming down, sweeping through 80-mile stretch of water through there. And I got my boat and started up through the alleys of the like this, and got it so I could get down and fall in behind the place in the current. And I landed against the place. The woman had fainted. I picked her up and got her in a boat. About 11 o'clock that night, 2 or 3 little girls. I got back away and got to the bank. When she come to herself, she kept hollering, my baby, oh, don't leave my baby. And I thought she had a little bitty baby over there. The baby she had is about 2 years old. And I took back to try to see if we'd left the little baby laying on a bed or something, because she fainted on the porch when I picked her up. And when I got there and tied my boat, and I went in and looked all through the house, but the baby she was talking about was a 2-year-old baby. And at just about that time, the house washed from the foundation. And I ran out real quick and jumped in the boat, threw my hands down the water and pulled a slip knot. Ice, sleeting, cold, the wind blowing, blizzarding, and I got into the boat. I tried to pull a strain on the starter. I couldn't get it started, and the current caught me this way, got me out onto Market Street, swept me out into the river. There's the Ohio Falls crushing just below there. The waves as high as this building here, romping like that with such a current, and me standing in that boat, pulling that string, trying to get that motor to start. It wouldn't start. Seemed like I could hear somebody say, now where's that bunch of trash at? I tell you, brother, the way of a transgressor is hard. Don't you let no one call you trash. No, I pulled that string and it wouldn't start, and I said, oh God, I did that which is wrong. Please, I don't want to die out here in this river. My baby and wife laying out there, very sick. Please, God, don't let me die. And I was pulling that string and it wouldn't start, and I turned around. The boat was half full of water almost then, going on towards the falls. I know just 10 minutes longer would be too much. I pulled again. I thought, oh God, forgive me for my sins. And I pulled again, and when I pulled that time, the motor spluttered. I pulled again, and it started. I whirled around like that in the boat, got back, come out way down around McCain Run Creek down towards New Albany. I got back up to Jeffersonville again, walked back up. I said, I'll go out and see my wife. Said, your wife, so where's she at? I said, the government hospital out there. Said, that whole thing's washed away. Oh my. Then I jumped in my boat and ran it, or my car, and ran as quick as I could, the little patrol truck I was in, and went out to the government out there. I met Major Weekly, a friend of mine. I said, Major, is the hospital washed away? He said, yes, it's all underwater down there at Reverend. He said, but I think all the patients got out. I said, you know where my wife did or not? I said, I don't know. And went and seen someone else who said, yes, your wife and all the rest of them got in a cattle car, and they've gone towards Charleston. Well, I run the car out towards Charleston. The Lanky St. Creek had backed up 4 miles of the swiftest water. I went and got my boat. I couldn't pierce that stream to save me. He would fly back. I met some of them there, said, you know, when they crossed that trestle over there, the train washed off the track between Charleston and Jeffersonville. And there, me trying to get that, and got marooned out there by myself. I had several days to sit out there and think it all over. Then, when I could cross and get over again, I got to Charleston. They sat up there. We hadn't heard nothing of my wife. I met an old friend of mine. We went walking down the street together. He said, we'll ask that dispatcher. Dispatcher said, well, yes, I put off a sick mother and 2 children at Columbus, Indiana. And when a friend picked me up and took me to Columbus, then when I run into the Baptist church there, the gymnasium room being used for a auditorium there for sick, where they put their sick, I went in there and the people crying and walking over each other, and the little cots sitting around, and I began to scream. I got frantic, and I began to scream, oh, Hope, where are you, sweetheart? Where are you? And I was running through there, where are you? And way back over in a corner, I'll never forget it, I seen a bony hand raised up like that. There was my darling dying. I run over there to her real quick. I looked down at her. Those dark eyes had sunk way back in her head, and her beautiful, smooth face had drawn in. And she looked at me, and oh, I couldn't stand it. I just sunk down inside the bed, and I said, oh, God, have mercy. And she said, I look horrible, don't I? And I said, no, you're all right, honey. I said, where's Billy Paul and the baby? Said, they're in somebody's got them down here in a room. I said, are they alive and all right? Said, yes. And just then I felt somebody tap me on the shoulder, and it was the doctor. He said, Reverend Branham? And I said, yes. And aren't you the friend of Dr. Sam Adair? And I said, yes. He said, come over here just a minute. And I walked over and said, now, Reverend Branham, I want to give you the shock so you'll know, so you can get over it. Said, your wife has developed galloping tuberculosis. She can't live but just a little bit. Said, she's dying now. I said, doctor, that can't be so. He said, it is so. So now I don't want you to let her know it, but you just go on, because Dr. Adair knows about it and told me to tell you. He didn't want to tell you. And I said, all right. I went back over there knowing she was going, oh my. And I asked the doctor, I asked the driver if I take her home. We come down home, we done everything that laid in human power to try to save her life, but we couldn't do it. I give her pneumothorax treatments. Went and got a pneumothorax machine. We didn't even have one in town. When she'd hold my hand, I'd have to pry her fingers loose through my hands to bore a hole in her side and collapse them lungs. If it was to go over again, I wouldn't do it. And there, how she was suffered and suffered. Finally, a great doctor from Louisville come over the name of Miller. He called me up one side and said, Reverend Branham, she can't live, but just a little while longer she's going on. Said she can't live. Now, I remember I had to patrol. I went on, that's when I became into the conservation, working as a game warden. Now, I had to work. I was in debt everywhere. She was laying at the hospital waiting for the last of it. And I remember being up one day, and I heard it on the radio calling me to come in. And I'll never forget that day as long as I live. I stopped, took off the belt, laid down the gun I had. I bowed my head before God. Looked like my church had gone. Everything was gone. I just all out. Life didn't mean nothing to me. Now I said, Heavenly Father, please don't let her die till I can see her one more time. I was about 20 miles away from home. I said, please don't let her die till I can see her once more. I turned the lights on, sirens down the road, stopped in front of the hospital, went running up the steps just as hard as I could, and I looked coming down through the aisle, come poor little old Dr. Adair. I love the man. There's just something about him that I love. He's been a buddy to me. We've been buddies ever since we were kids. He come walking down with his head down. He looked up and see me, and the tears just rolled down his cheeks. He turned sideways and started to run into the side. I said, just a minute, Sam. I walked over. I said, is she gone? He said, I think she is, Bill. I said, come go with me, buddy. He said, oh, Bill, don't ask me to go. Don't ask me to go. I said, I can't go in there. I said, I hope to bake some any pie for me and we'd eat together. I said, that's like my sister, Bill. I've done all I can do. I said, God knows I've done all I can do. I said, I've done the best I could for you, boy, but said, she's gone. I said, Doc, can't you go with me? He said, I just can't stand it any longer, Bill. I said, I'm going. He said, don't wait, take the nurse. And the nurse come around, she had a little medicine there. She said, take this medicine just a minute. Said, it's quite near her. I said, no, I don't want it. I walked into the room by myself, and she said, I'll go with you. I said, no, I want to go alone. I pulled the door behind me like that and walked over there. They had a sheet over her face. I pulled that sheet back. When I looked in there laid my darling. I looked at her, she was drawn up like this. I put my hand on her head, it was sticky. I couldn't see any breath or see anything. And I shook her and I said, Hope, sweetheart, please speak once to me. I said, I love you with all my heart, I've always did and I always will. Please speak once more to me. And I shook her like that. I screamed out, Hope! And then her eyes come open, those great eyes staring with death in them, just like an angel's eyes. She looked at me, and she started to smile. She motioned for me to get out, and she said, oh, why did you call me? I said, call you? I said, well, honey, have I done wrong? She said, no, you haven't done wrong. She said, just then the nurse come running in. She said, Reverend Branham, you have to come out. And she said, come here, Hilda, is a friend of hers. And here's what made me feel. She said, I hope when you get married you have a husband like mine. He's been so good to me, so understanding. You know how I make you feel. And I said, no, honey, I haven't been able to do for for you like I want to, and we have to figure out maybe to buy our calico dress once every 3 or 4 months. I said, you work and help me to make a living for the kiddies. And the girl started crying, went out of the room, the nurse. I said, why did you tell me I done wrong by calling you back? She said, oh, Bill, said, you've preached about it, honey, and you've talked about it, but said, you don't realize what it is. Said, I was being taken home by a group of white angels. Said, it was like an oriental thing with big birds flying from tree to tree, so peaceful. I believe.
Alright, ladies and gentlemen, that's about the end of the video. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, don't forget to leave a comment. And don't forget to hit the notification bell right next to the subscribe button. I'm talking too fast. Sorry about that. And don't forget the special deal that I got going on for the rest of this month, which is January 2018. It's not going on for very much longer, so you're going to want to get into it. The special offer is, if you subscribe to this channel and leave a comment on one of my videos, and then go over to my other channel and subscribe and leave a comment there on one of the videos, which my other channel will be in the description, but it is Poisonous Fall. I will take both of my channels over and I will subscribe to you, and I will mention your channel and I will pronounce it the best way that I can. And I will do that for a week. I will also give you a link in the descriptions for a week. So don't forget to check out the links in the description, because there are channels that I think, well, maybe you guys might want to check them out. One of them is actually Unspeakable. If you don't know who that is, I don't remember which. Oh, there went my stuff. Yeah, I forgot. I don't remember which video I done Unspeakable. I'll put Unspeakable back in this video. How about that? So with all that said and done, also next month, next month being February, maybe even in March, I don't know which month I'll start, but in one of them 2 months, I will be starting a shout out series, so you're going to want to get involved with that. I think that's everything. So, God bless, God be with you, and have a peaceful and blessed day. Bye. Bye 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 bye. I don't have an empty hand. I would do it with a torch. Bye. And bye. Bye bye. I'm out in 3, 2, 1. Bye.